What do you say to people now when you meet, say, an artist, and it doesn't have to be just a painter, it can be any person performing music, whatever you want, any of these, say, art styles, to encourage them? What do you say to them? I mean, it's a challenge, isn't it?
Really
it's like, hang in there, guys, it's going to work for you or what?
Well, you know, it's tough being an artist.
Yeah.
But regardless of what your ethnic background is, being an artist is a struggle, you know. Chances are you're not going to make it rich, but...
Do you want to make it rich?
Yeah, I want to make it rich. One day.
I could say, why do you
But that's not the bottom line, though.
Yeah, what's in it for you? Why do you create and paint?
I think, for me personally, because it's just something that is a part of who I am, and I think a lot of artists like that. You don't just become an artist, it's something that you've enjoyed all your life. You know, chances are you've been drawing since you were a little child.
Well, that's it, at 5 or 6 you didn't suddenly say, I want to be an artist.
No.
It's just sort of, but it's okay if someone says that, isn't it?
I mean,
at 12 or 20 or something, you just got this thing you want to what? Express or say or...
Yeah, I believe that art is a human expression, and I think as humans we all have the ability to create and to say something that speaks to our humanity, but, you know.
So you know the dilemma I have, Neville?
What's that, John?
You know, like, some people try there and maybe they put out all that stuff which is like in their garden, they create this garden art and stuff. Oh, hang on, I think it's the phone. Mum said she was going to call. Watch the cricket, check the score out.
Okay.
Neville, okay? Yeah, hi, Mum, how are you? Neville Murray's here. No, you don't know. No. West Indies, Australia. Okay, bye, Mum, bye. What's the score? You have it?
I'm not sure, but I think the West Indies have got it under control by the looks of it.
What do you mean you got it under? Sir Garfield Sobers.
Garfield Sobers, Sir
Right?
Garfield Sobers.
Sir Garfield,
right.
knighted by what? The Queen for his what? Contribution to
the
sports?
sport of cricket, yes.
Sports.
So, yeah.
Not, no, he wasn't Jamaican, was he?
Yeah.
He was Jamaican? Great player.
Yeah, wonderful player.
Yeah, destroyed the Australians. You ever play cricket?
A little bit when I was younger.
Like, what'd you do? Did you bowl?
No, I was a batsman, you know.
I know.
You ever play cricket, John?
A little. You know what I used to have a real problem in with, I don't know if you did, but when there was a sticky wicket and they'd bowl, the spin bowler would do a googly. Never dig it out.
Put a little spin on that ball, you know.
Got it.
That's amazing thing.
I know, got it. Have there been many over the years, and so you talk about, say, the evolution of European, but even the evolution of, say, what's accepted as American art and that, but African-American persons who, I mean, it just didn't suddenly start where people of colour decided they need to create and paint, did they? No. They've been doing it. What are some of the notable ones? Do you know any?
Duncanson, in the earliest part of the century, basically mimicked European art almost, and then people like Jacob Lawrence came up and created art that was basically reflective of his environment and his style. But African Americans have always been creating. I mean, art just doesn't occur. It's just that we're able to start to recognize the artists who have been creating.
How come, like, we've never heard of a lot of them? I mean, we hear of Monet, that's his name. We hear of, you know, all those name people.
Well, those are wonderful artists too, but comes back down to how do we define who is a master? You know, who defines that, John? I mean, and those are the people who we recognize as being masters. And in the early part of the century, there were wonderful African-American artists, many of whom, in order to have their work shown, had to have white people as fronts who said, well, this is their work, but in actuality, that work was created by African-Americans. There was numerous instances of that.
Yeah?
Yeah, and then with the advent of maybe the WPA.
Works Projects Administration, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Many artists were given an opportunity to create, and there were also people who would buy the work too. So that's very important too. As an artist, you have to have somebody who is supporting you.
Yeah. Oh, you know, Neville, before Mum called, get that recipe for vanilla slices I named up her. you know, same about what makes good art. You know how people, what do you call them? The folk artists, right? Mm-hmm. Now suddenly that makes a progression. I mean, people will do sculptures within their yard or do some lawn art. Mm-hmm. And again, people walk by and sort of say, well, you know, check that out. And yet somehow it's their own creativity, but it then drifts into the... So I'm just wondering if it needs acceptance by anybody or just acceptance by the creator, you know, to call it art then too.
I think it needs acceptance by everybody because it's, in my opinion, it's art too. And in Nebraska, part of my job, I get to travel around the state and work, and there's wonderful folk arts being created here, John. I mean... Yeah?
Like what?
Oh, there's Native American quilt making. That's a folk art. That's a wonderful tradition that, you know, we have to keep alive, is dying. And a lot of European folk arts, like tatting and netting.
Tatting, oh, like it's a little, stitching stuff, isn't
even
it?
stuff like saddle making. That's a folk art too.
Wasn't there someone who made boots, and boots were put into a museum at some time? I mean, what was it, cowboy boots or something, weren't they?
That's right. And as a matter of fact, if you travel some parts of western Nebraska, you'll see those boot fences. With those boots on those fences, that's considered folk art in some circles.
Like an environmental piece.
Yeah. So I think art is created in many different cultures, and I think it needs to be recognized. There is a stigma between what is good art and what is bad art, but for me personally, if somebody's creating something that has beauty, I think it should be regarded as art. There shouldn't really be a definition between what is high art and what is low art.
Do you care if people then like your work? I mean, you got to. I think a creator undergoes a great risk when you put your work on showing. You say to people, "Come in here and look at it."
True.
I mean, it's a great personal risk, isn't it? To really, maybe they, you know, because you've got something in it, and you're expecting some reaction, and it's maybe an exposure of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
what a terrible career.
That's what art's supposed to do, though.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
If you don't respond to art, then I don't think the art is doing what it's supposed to do.
So it can be a good or bad response.
It can be a good or bad response. Yeah. Too. But I want people to like my art naturally. But they say you can't be thin-skinned if you're an artist, you know, because you're always going to get criticism. You're putting yourself up there, aren't you? And I said you're exposing a bit of yourself. You're putting yourself up there, and asking people to take a shot at you. That's a risk you take. That's right. Well. Do you think then also that now with, say, technology, as it's moved, and you create what in traditional oils, do you, or oils
pastels?
And acrylics and some pastel.
Are you using any of that new technology stuff in your?
Yes. I think that's a great equalizer.
You want some more coffee?
No, I'm okay, thank you.
You want a donut?
No, I'm okay, thanks.
Do you like those donuts?
They look pretty. They're Christmassy.
Baker's special donuts.
Okay.
So what type of when you say, what technology is it?
Well, a lot of artists now are developing home pages where maybe they'll be able to expose their art to a much larger audience, a worldwide audience, actually.
And that's your base and appreciation and getting a whole different mix of people in to sort of look at it.
So you can, nowadays, you can bypass the traditional gallery scene if you so choose, or if, you know, in order to get your work out. So technology is just amazing, and it's moving at such a rapid rate now. We've helped a lot of artists of color digitize their work so that they will have access to put it on the net.
Do you personally use any of that in your creation, or are you sticking with, shall we say, the more traditional creative forms?
I'm using some technology in terms of marketing. I still paint in a traditional way, and I think I will continue to do that. But in terms of, you know, marketing is very important for an artist, as you know, John. You can create wonderful work, but if nobody can see it, what's the point? But I think technology has enabled artists to develop business cards, find like-minded groups where they can learn information about.
Neville, World Herald again. This is unbelievable. Second thing in the World Herald. I don't believe it. Today's paper. Paint by numbers. Talking about good, bad art. Okay, Chicago. The numbers up on what is considered to be one of the hottest new collectibles. Paint by number art, blah, blah, blah. Titled the 40th anniversary of paint by number paintings, the exhibit drew 1,000 people on its opening night and set off a media frenzy. The origins of paint-by-number kits, which gave all people a chance to become Michelangelos, are debatable. So what? Okay. Whatever their origins, the idea was always the same. The kits included a piece of cardboard, or in rarer cases, canvas or velvet, and were stamped with the outline of drawings. Numbers were stamped on the cardboard in a jigsaw puzzle-like spaces waiting to be filled in with various colours of oil paint that would correspond with the numbers. Whoever's marketing it, whoever says it's hot. No, really, no, well, and I said, I don't, you know, your position when you get then people saying that paint by numbers is artwork and you're trying to create and do stuff and everything too. Do you think that, again, I mean, this is the stuff where if, you know, see technology, you said you're using it a bit for marketing purposes. Do you think that, and who knows what the future is going to be, that technology is ever going to personally, I mean, you've got to react to what's living around you. Will it change what you do? Do you know, Neville, or what?
I hope not. I'd like to still be able to create in a traditional manner. I think that's my style, but it's hard to tell. Neville. It's hard to tell. It's
because a Buick is like a hole in there. Look at it.
It's evolved so rapidly, you know.
Those doors.
You know, I took my first computer art class probably about 10 years ago.
Did you really?
On a little Mac. And
yeah.
now if you look at the technology and what you're able to do, it's just moving unbelievable. So it's hard telling, John.
Yeah. You know, I heard some people say, Neville, and again, and say in your creative process there, you've got, you know, your board, your canvas, whatever you're going to put the, you know, the something. You get time to sort of, you know, move and maybe, you know, see that work slowly evolve. You've got an image in your head, you see it form, you do that. I heard some people sort of maybe suggest, you know, well, the computer is just another palette, you can do it. But the real challenge is to see it appear instantaneously, quicker than maybe what you're synthesizing. And I know you can hit the undo and it's gone, but it's that trying to work with the medium, you know, when you're just slowly pushing the paint, but you're just doing, you know, old F10, click, click, and you got this vision here, and trying to...
That's true. I mean, when you create, I think for me personally, when I paint, it's almost like a spiritual thing in a sense. I mean, it's very calming, because many times you're in an isolated environment, you're working with the paint, you're getting paint on you.
As I say, yeah, it's like,
I mean, you're dealing with different brushes, and I respect computer art too, but I think there'll always be a place for traditional painting also. Like with photography, they thought that.
That's right, they did, didn't they?
And it really didn't influence that much.
And then look how, again, what is it, people like Ansel Adams have taken probably what was the basic, you know, photography medium, took all those great things of, what is it, the Southwest, but went back into the dark room and physically manipulated the blacks and the contrasts.